I would go to the library, and they thought it was so nice, but the library is where I was corrupted. I'd look up drug addicts, homosexuality, everything. And then it would say, see librarian, meaning that I couldn't get them, but I knew where they kept those books, and I'd steal them. And that's what corrupted me, the library. And also people were having sex in the bathroom.
Filth are my politics. Filth is my life.
John Waters is the man responsible for making Divine a movie star.
I find humor in all the things that are terrible about America and things that people have anxiety about. But the first step of getting rid of anxiety is to laugh.
Oh, wow, are you from the Cavalcade of Perversion?
I run it, baby. It's my show.
Hi, W Magazine. I'm John Waters, and this is my life in parties.
The world of heterosexual is a sick and boring lie.
I was born in upper middle class suburbia of Baltimore. I was raised in the tyranny of good taste. That's how I learned to rebel and have fun with bad taste, because you have to know the rules. I think when I was young, things that I was obsessed by were the clothes that pissed people off, like the sack dress. I remember that made men so crazy. I always liked the villains, and that's who I identified with. I wanted to be the Wicked Witch of the West. I wanted to be Captain Hook. I had a costume box that was different outfits. I became a puppeteer. I had a children's birthday party career when I was 12. Half the kids cried and laughed. So I caused trouble right from the beginning. I guess I was the close to preppy as I'll ever be. I was probably a freshman in high school then. That would be 1961. I wrote all my early movies on pot. But I took LSD the first time in about 1964, and this was real acid. Let me tell you, this is no little microdoses you pussies take. They used it to treat alcoholism at Shepherd Pratt Hospital in Baltimore, and I knew an orderly, and he stole it. I went to NYU, and I never went to classes. I stole books in the bookstore and resold them to get pot money. I was thrown out of NYU on the first marijuana bust ever on a college. It wasn't NYU's fault. I should have been thrown out. And then I went home and stayed at my parents' for a short time, and then got an apartment and made a movie. How the Dreamlanders started, we never called ourselves that, ever. That just came later when the press called us that. It's like every kid making a film with a cell phone today. You make them with your friends. My friends were maybe a little more alarming. It was the suburban kids, bad boys and girls that were straight and gay, but all on LSD. This was, that's in my parents' driveway. That was the first Dreamland studio, the Roman Candles we shot there. Divine lived up the street from my parents, and he was in Roman Candles, but the first big part in my movie, he played Jackie Kennedy, and we did the entire Kennedy assassination, where Divine crawls over the trunk of the car in a pink Chanel suit. My parents were horrified, but they allowed us to do it. Divine's mother never even knew he was Divine or anything. But she found the bloody Jackie Kennedy outfit in her station wagon trunk and said, "What the hell is this?" And Divine was just on pot. Didn't know what to say. He said, "I am Jackie Kennedy." I got the mustache in 1969 when I was making Multiple Maniacs. And I tried to do it and everything, and it didn't really work right. And then Mink Stoll's sister, Seek, said, "Just put a little pencil on it." She thought, "Oh my God." And I've never not had that since. I can put it on in the dark. If I went blind, I could still put it on. And when I'm dead, that's why I have a closed coffin. They wouldn't get it on right.
What are these?
Those are your new shoes, Dawn.
Those aren't the right kind. I told you, chop down your black one.
Well, that picture of Divine is probably at the premiere of Female Trouble or around that time. Rex Reed said, "Where do these people come from? Where do they go when the sun goes down? Isn't there a law or something?" I built a career on negative reviews. Definitely my favorite for Pink Flamingos was like a septic tank explosion. It must be seen to be believed. When we made Pink Flamingos, I made that movie to scare hippies. It was a punk movie, but there was no such thing as that. The Russ Meyer movies, the Ingmar Bergman art movies, the Andy Warhol underground movies, I tried to put all of them together to make a genre that hadn't really happened yet.
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now.
The critics then, it was us versus them kind of. They hated the whole movement, they hated everything. So we wanted them to hate us. Oh, I think we're both drunk there. Dee Massey, that was during her pirate phase. She was the sweetest, kindest lady. Even Andy Warhol said, "Where did you find her?"
Where do eggs come from?
From little chickens, Mama.
That might have been at the Mug Club. Is it? I love the Mug Club. I hated Studio 54. We made fun of it. Disco sucks. In New York, I went to the Ninth Circle, but it was a beatnik bar then. Then I went to Max's when it was punk. I went to Area, the Mug Club, And then the Pyramid Club, which was my favorite of all. It was a punk rock drag queen bar. I jitterbugged with Richard Serra there. And he led, of course. That is William Burroughs and myself, maybe in his apartment. And he served warm vodka and empty peanut butter jars. He's the one that called me the Pope of Trash, so that's like being anointed from God. I was obsessed by William Burroughs growing up. I mean, I remember reading all the books. William was a huge celebrity, and he downplayed it and pretended he wasn't. But when he passes you a joint, you better take it. That is the premiere in Baltimore of Polyester at the Charles Theater.
What the hell?
Caught you, didn't I? Right in the act of adultery.
My parents were there, proudly, and the press loved to get a picture of my parents with the vine, because my parents sort of looked like George and Barbara Bush. We had the odorama cards for the first time.
This is the product of our endless experimentation, the odorama card.
Odorama was a card. You came in, you got the numbers 1 to 10, and you scratched and sniffed the number when that came on the scene. I knew the key was having bad smells. People all over the world paid me money to smell a fart. That premiere is Hairspray at the Waverly Theater, which is now the IFC. And that's Keith Haring. And I don't know if I knew that was him then. I remember that Hairspray premiere with Divine, and the movie was a hit. Divine had just gotten rave reviews everywhere for the first time ever.
Could you turn that racket down? I'm trying to iron in here.
When I made Hairspray, I didn't think it was going to be more commercial or anything. It just, for once, I was obsessed by something that didn't scare people. When we got the first rating, it was PG, and I thought, oh my God, I'll never work again. And New Line was even uptight. They wanted me to put the word in so we'd get a PG-13. But I said, no, the shock is getting a PG. I was right. Of course, and then it went on for the musical, which was one of the incredible things that ever happened to me. I was on stage when it won the Tony Award. How could this ever have happened? That was out front of the Senator Theater in Baltimore at the world premiere of Crybaby with Johnny Depp and Winona, who were in Item. They still use pictures in gossip magazines of that night with those two together. Johnny at the time was obviously like Justin Bieber. He was the biggest teen idol in the world. The fans were so crazy that they asked the Teamsters if they could buy his sewage from underneath his trailer. And the Teamsters were horrified. I thought, well, if we're going over budget today, Johnny, what do you think? Oh, Ricky, why'd you wear that hat? I tried to talk her out of it. That was in Cannes, I believe. Look at Iggy. He certainly did not pay attention to the dress code of Cannes, where you're supposed to wear a black tie to the premiere. Cannes is the best festival in the world. I was on the jury there with Jean Moreau. Oh, look at her. That was such a great honor. We got along great. I took her to the French premiere to see A Dirty Shame. We're sitting there watching. I'm thinking, what is she gonna think about this shit?
Used to be Harford Road was for families. Now it's a lesbian aorta.
And then suddenly it was over. I was just nervous. And I said, we had a lot of censorship problems. And she said, why, darling, it was poetry. Poetry. No one has ever called my films poetry. It really made me laugh. That's obviously Pedro Almodovar and Jim Jarmusch, two good friends and great, great filmmakers. We were kindred spirits. I don't think our movies are the same, but I think the characters we wrote would get along. They could go to the same party. They could be in the same jail cell. That's me and Jean-Paul Gaultier, and I was a fan of his clothes. Like Pedro, we weren't the same, but we understood each other's work. I liked about the fashion world because it's your statement, it's your armor. It shows your sense of humor. I always said a guy that wears one single rubber band on his waist drives me fucking crazy. It's so effortless, yet there it is.
Fashion has changed.
No, it hasn't.
I did a giant bottle of popper spilled over. It was a sculpture I did in an art show. And the owner of Rush gave me a lifetime supply of Rushes. I'm out of them. We used to do Rush, not for sex, just for fun. We used to do it on the roller coaster at Coney Island, going up the hill, and then wham, 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 when you go down. This is me and Tracy Lords, who's been my great friend ever since Crybaby, and Mink Stoll, who's been my friend for over half a century. When we were making Crybaby, I knew Tracy had been through that nasty scandal, and I liked the idea. She and I went out together. It was great cruising. But all she had to do was give one look to a straight guy, and they'd start shaking. And Mink and Pat, we all are buried at the same place. We have grave plots. We're divided. We call it Disgraceland. Most friends don't get buried together. I don't know why not. It's a good idea. Oh, that picture. That's a shocking one to me. Debbie Mazar took it. It's at the opening of Talk magazine, but it's myself, Debbie Mark, Henry Kissinger, and Todd Solondz. And it comes up online all the time, and people said, where was that? I said, oh, at our glory hole party. No. Oh, my prom picture. No, this is, I always think the pictures of me and Patricia Harris are prom pictures. This was at the Independent Spirit Awards where I was the host for many years. I went to her trial a lot, but I didn't know her then. And when I told her that later, she said, that's why I went to jail, people like you. She came to make movies with me the same reason Johnny Depp did. She said, people would ask me for my autograph. For what? Being kidnapped? And her own family offered her money not to do it. She was a good comedian. That's why I have her in. She's in 5 or 6 of my movies. It wasn't stunt casting. It's myself, Rosie De Palma, in all the Pedro movies, and Karl Lagerfeld. When he was fat. No, I'm just kidding. He told me that night, I told him how much I loved the movie Boom. He was the assistant. He did the clothes on that movie. Elizabeth Taylor filmed it. Even when I met her and told her I loved it, she said, that's a terrible movie. She got mad that I said I liked it. Oh, this is the most exciting, that the Academy Awards Museum gave me a 17-room show. How is that possible? I mean, it's not going to get any better than that. Just looking through the old ledgers where I kept the expenses for each your makeup, like 25 cents for a roll of Scotch tape. Young people come over to me crying, saying, you saved my life, which is very shocking to me. I feel like Mother Teresa on acid or something, but it's very touching to me, and I don't take that lightly. And this is when I got the star on Hollywood Boulevard, and I took a picture of my parents with me because they're no longer with us to put down there. Had my whole family out, took them all, had a big family meal at the Chateau Marmont. And I'm right next to Roy Rogers. That's who's next to me. That's good. Crucial for a good party is liquor of some kind. People that are mixed ages, mixed sexuality, mixed race, that people you don't expect to talk to. Or maybe even somebody you don't agree with at all. I always said that we were so stupid to make the enemy feel stupid, we should have made him feel smart, make him laugh, and then have sex with him and change their mind. Thanks, W Magazine, and let's hope there's way more parties. I'm looking for a hospice hag. Bye-bye.